is, first of all, I want to talk about, does anybody here know what a BHAG is? BHAG. Big, hairy, audacious goal. A goal so big and compelling, it just wants you to take action. So, 18 months ago, I put up 3 big goals that I wanted to do with my life. The first one is start my own business. I did that. Why did I want to do that? It's because I tried many times over the years and I failed miserably. And number 2 is write a book. And I did that. I wanted to do it because, again, I tried many times over the year and I failed miserably. The third thing I wanted to do was share my story in front of a big crowd, like you guys. All right? So, yes, so I don't know, this is my first time doing this, I'm going to need you guys to really, really hype me up here. So, my story. Has anybody ever heard of this company? No. Anybody know about them? Okay. I worked with them for 10 and a half years. Yes, I started my journey with them 10 and a half years. And when I started with them, I thought they were doing great. They were doing $800,000 a year. You know, I had a background, I've been doing management for many, many years. So I started with this company, operations manager. Like I said, they were doing $800,000 a year. We were killing it out there. You know, for the first 6 years of that journey, you know, we went up to $1.5 million. It took 6 years, a slow creep to get there, and we thought we were doing great, you know. Then, one day, I got the phone call that nobody ever wants to get. My doctor calls me and tells me, Mr. Hess, I'm sorry, but you have cancer. That's the moment that really, really, really changed my life. Because, you know, I get a little choked up, sorry, when I talk about this. But the thing is, you know, during that time, I had a lot of time during my recovery to really think about my life, really contemplate on what I wanted to do with my life. Because not only that, my doctor told me that I have what's called Lynch syndrome, which is a hereditary disorder that makes you highly susceptible to other cancers. So I know for a fact my time on this earth is short. So I wanted to do something special. So one day I got a phone call from a man named Bob Slover. He had originally been our field supervisor with 1-800-GOT-JUNK for the Atlanta area, and he's now vice president in 1-800-GOT-JUNK. And he gives me a call just to see how I was doing, you know, how I was feeling, going through my recovery, and, you know, I told him, I said, look, you know, I really, really need to make a change, you know, can you give me any advice? And he told me, he said, look, can I give it to you straight? Can I give you some really, really honest feedback? And he says, of course. And I told him, of course, you know, that's what I really need. And he told me, he said, look, you're an amazing manager. You know, you're probably one of the best in the system. You're great at managing the business. You're great at running it. You're great at creating and managing the processes. But you're not a really good leader. I said, what do you mean? He's like, you're not good with your people. Well, I thought I do a pretty good job. He says, yes, you're good at managing your people, but you're not good at leading. And I really didn't know what he meant. So I contemplated, like I said, during my recovery, I had a lot of time to think and contemplate. And I started researching it and realizing there is a difference between being a leader and being a manager. Well, at least that's loud out there, right? But so what I started doing is I started really trying to grow myself at this point. I really tried to, I started reading a lot of books about leadership. I really started you know, I had a long commute going to Atlanta. I had like 45 minutes to an hour commute every day. And at that time, you know, I started listening to audiobooks. I started listening to podcasts. I started doing a lot of things to grow myself and find out what it meant to be a leader. Because I knew there was something different, you know, that I had to do. So, you know, leadership is something that I really started implementing in my business as well. I started really connecting with my guys, you know. Who can tell me what it really means to be a leader? Anybody?
Fire.
What?
Create inspiration.
Okay.
Be an example. Relationships.
Relationships, that's a good one.
Compassion. Other people.
Show others how to lead.
Exactly. Showing others how to lead.
We got souls.
Yes.
Knowing where you're going.
Knowing where you're going.
Cultivate the relationship, but don't throw one in the bus right away.
Right. You know, one of the major parts of being a leader is being in servitude of others. You know, and with my team, I never was a good leader because it's either you do it my way or it's wrong. And if you're not going to do it my way, you're fired. You're out of here. We went through a lot of people over the years. You know, like I said, we did that first year. Up to that first 6 years, we went up to 1.5 million. So I really started cultivating myself. I really started to learn about my team. I really started to get to know them. I found out their names of their girlfriends, their wives, their kids, their dogs, you know, where they grew up, where they went to school. I found out everything about them. I started doing one-on-ones with them, not about talking about performance, but learning about them, where they wanted to go with their lives, what they wanted to do with their lives, you know, professionally, personally, and really getting to know them. I really started, you know, John was talking about measuring what matters, and, you know, anything that can be measured can be improved. So I really started putting a high focus on the different things because somebody asked me this question once, and I didn't have an answer to it. If I went to any one of your teammates right now, and I asked them, how would you measure your success with your organization? Would they be able to answer that? I didn't have an answer to that. I'm sure a lot of you guys don't either. So I started figuring out how could they measure their success with our business. And so I started digging deep into the different types of metrics. I did the different COGS, you know, testing, experimenting with different types of metrics. One of the biggest ones was AJS, the average job size. It's a good way to measure it. A lot of my guys didn't like it because they felt it wasn't fair. If you got a big commercial job, it just wasn't the same. You know, it's easy to increase that average job size. So I narrowed it down to residential average job size. It was a great way. We had a lot of different metrics. We measured everything. You know, we had morning meetings every single day and went over the numbers for the day before. We went over the goals that we had for that day. And, you know, everything about it, you know, they started realizing, I put a big whiteboard on with everybody's name, and if they had their average job size above whatever our goal was, their name was above that line and the numbers were green. If they were below that line, the numbers were red. Not to say, hey, if your number is red, you suck. It helped me focus on them and know that before I was like, okay, you suck, you're gone, I'll find somebody else. Now I know those are the people I have to help. These are the people I have to work with. If you suck, it's my fault. And I learned that accountability. If you're not doing well, it is my fault because I am not a good leader. You don't need to be told that you're doing it wrong. You need to be told how to do it right. And I really, really focused on that. And I really started. The one thing that I probably did that I really loved doing was, you know, with 1-800-GOT-JUNK, I probably said this 1,000 times to different people, is all 1-800-GOT-JUNKs are not created equal. Everybody does their own thing. They don't do the same thing. Their prices are different at every single location. There's 175 locations out there. One thing that a lot of them do is they have training. It's a 2-page training manual, basically. It's a 10-day training. And I figured if I really, really want to help somebody grow with this business and help lead them, I need to change that. I really want them to learn how to do this at a high level. So I pumped that training schedule with steroids, and it became a 3-month training period where you had to go through 5 different scenarios and actually get certified. Not everybody finished it. Every single one of them, we did a lot of role play training. Not everybody did it the first time, and that was okay, because the best part was after they failed was being able to give them actionable feedback, honest feedback, just like that Bob Slover had given to me, that honest feedback that helped me grow. And that helps them grow every single time. So I continued doing that until they went to the training. And guess what? When they finished that training, they were proud of themselves. They were celebrated. The team got together and celebrated. They clapped them up every single time that somebody got certified. And they felt special about it. They felt empowered. One day, and as I started growing with becoming a better leader, we finished off that year, we finished off at $2.5 million. Went up $1 million. And I was like, okay, this is working. But I wanted to get better. Because now I'm feeling special. I feel like a leader. I feel like I'm impacting their lives. I'm helping them get to where they want to go. But I really want them to move forward. And I really want these people to feel empowered. So one day, we were having our morning meeting. My throat was really sore. I was kind of sick. I really didn't feel like talking. So I asked one of my guys, can you go run the meeting? Can you go talk about the goals that we're doing? Talk about the job, the numbers that we did the day before, and set up the goals. And he did that. He went up there and he felt so empowered doing that. And every guy that was there was looking up to him. It's like, damn, I want to be this guy. I want to be in the front. I want to be running a training. And I realized that guy went out that day, and I think he had like a $3,500 day that day. He was motivated. And I started thinking about it. I was like, God, me becoming a better leader has helped me find purpose. Like Matt was talking about finding your purpose. I found my purpose in leadership. But seeing these guys, it's like, imagine, I'm succeeding here. I'm doing better. I'm improving because I found my purpose. Imagine them if they found their purpose. What if I started developing them as leaders? And we started just really, first of all, that training started really taking off. More people wanted, in those one-on-ones that I learned about them, I learned that they wanted more. And the better that we got in our organization, the more they wanted to be a part of that organization and actually grow with it. Before, their personal goals and their professional goals want to start a business somewhere else or do better to go somewhere else. Now their goals wanted to be within this organization. So I started teaching them from day one how to be a leader. I hardly ever, after that, ran those morning meetings. I picked other guys to do it. I have them, as a team, they set the goals. They had the formula to do those goals for the day. They knew what they had to do. They set the goals. I told them to do realistic goals. They said, fuck that, we want to do more. We want to do better. They were empowered. I started having guys run the morning meetings and the training meetings. They went out and started buying laptops and building presentations and Google slides, and seeing them really, really feel empowered to do this, it started showing in the numbers. They really wanted to do it. The training was on point. They really started feeling like leaders. And again, we finished that year off at $3.5 million. The next year, we really kicked it up a notch and really, really started boosting that training, that leadership training. Every single day, I think that helped me a lot was, does anybody here know what an OKR is? An objection and key results. You know, this is a goal-setting strategy that companies like Netflix, Google, Apple, the executives use this framework for goal setting. And I started doing it for myself, and I started reaching my goals at a high level because of that. Daily goals, weekly goals, monthly goals, quarterly goals, it doesn't matter. I started teaching them how to set these goals. They set them, you know, in our one-on-ones, I started helping them set goals. You know, if they needed improvement here, I didn't tell them they needed improvement there. They would tell me, this is what my numbers are. I know I need to get them there. Let's set a goal. You know, before the one-on-ones, it felt like going to the principal's office when I called them in there. You know, they sat in my chair, we talked, whatever. After that, I got rid of the chairs, put in a sofa. After that, they were begging me to come in there. They wanted one-on-one because they wanted to set a goal for themselves. They wanted to start improving themselves. They wanted to get some kind of forward momentum with the company. And they were really, really, really engaged and bought into the company. And really, really kicked it up a notch by doing that. We started adding people to our training team. I stopped doing the trainings. They wanted to do the trainings. They wanted to move forward. Our operations team started building that as we started growing and started adding people to it. And I started seeing the improvement. And now that I have a team of actual leaders. They started finding their own purpose and they wanted to grow with this company. That year, we finished off with $6 million. Okay? Every morning, before the morning meeting, people were coming in early to do those trainings. They wanted that training. They wanted to be certified. They wanted to do more. They were coming in off the clock, not getting paid for it to do these trainings. And they were there standing in line. I'm not on the schedule, but I want this training. I need to get certified. My trainers were there off the clock. They didn't care. They wanted to help people. So, you know, these leadership, and then the more they really wanted it, every morning too, before those meetings, I started putting up motivational videos from YouTube on the TV just so they could watch it and listen to it while they're getting ready to start. I would send them out, you know, we had a group chat. I'd send out little motivational quotes throughout the day. One day I came across a quote that kind of caught my attention. It said, intentional days create a life on purpose. And that word, intentional, really caught my attention. To me, it was something powerful. I looked it up. You know, what is it to be intentional? You know, done on purpose, deliberate. And the things that you do on purpose, we tend to repeat. And I started thinking about it, and I'm like, well, we've been winning so far, but was I being intentional with it? Or maybe I was. Those days that we really won, I was probably doing it on purpose. I was probably doing it intentional. But was I being intentional about being intentional? Kind of sounds like a stoner epiphany there. You know? Am I being intentional about being intentional? And I kept thinking about it. To me, that word just became more and more and more powerful. The word intentional. What if we were intentional with everything that we do? Can we do better? Can we really change things? And the more I thought about it, the more I really, really, really wanted to be intentional and teach my guys to be intentional about everything that they did.